Amazon was once on the brink of collapse, but they managed to turn things around by using their chaos and disasters as resources. And this is the story of how something called AWS was born, a service that's now worth trillions of dollars. Yet AWS started out as just a way to solve a problem, an experiment, just a side project within Amazon. This story really made me curious about, on those days when things were really going downhill, what was Jeff Bezos thinking? How did he feel? How brave did he have to be? And what methods did he use to experiment until he discovered AWS? How did it become such a valuable resource for Amazon, generating about 50% of Amazon's operating profit today? From everything I've read and want to share, I really feel like this video will inspire people who are always thinking, daydreaming, wanting to experiment, wanting to just do something. Just go for it. Don't be afraid of whether it's right or wrong. Those who think and experiment and actually create something, they'll tell you that experiments fail more often than they succeed. And if you want to do something today, just do it. Because even Jeff Bezos, one of the richest people in the world, he did exactly what we're dreaming about, just like us. So let's watch this video together. So how did he go from daydreaming to creating a trillion-dollar project like AWS? Sponsored clip. AWS, something built from the chaos and disasters of Amazon, is featured on the Sai Money Monster channel. You can support us by scanning this QR code, or you can simply support us by leaving a comment to chat, hitting like, sharing, or subscribing. And if you want to be part of the Money Monster seminar, helping us create content freely without anyone dictating what we do, so we can keep making fun and useful content like this for a long time, then join us. You can also become a member to support us. Thank you. Amazon was one of the dot-com companies, that is, an internet company back in those days, around 1999 or 2000. Any company with .com at the end of its name was super popular. But then, in 2000, Amazon was also one of the companies standing right at the edge of collapse. So did Amazon crash? Yes, it did, because Amazon was one of the companies that burned through cash like crazy. By the year 2000, Amazon had burned a lot of money. And $3 billion, right? At that time, Amazon stock plummeted by 93%. From a high of $107 per share, it dropped all the way down to just $7. Did anyone buy in back then? And Amazon's crash meant they had to lay off 1,300 employees during the dot-com bubble. They basically became a laughingstock for the whole country. Back then, there were reporters who interviewed Jeff Bezos or talked about Amazon, saying things like, "One thing I never understood about Amazon is that, honestly, ever since Amazon was founded, I've never seen them make a profit." And Jeff Bezos must have really good mental health because whenever he answers reporters' questions, he always has a sense of humor. For example, when asked about this, Jeff Bezos replied, "Oh yes, last year we lost $12 million, but we're doing great." Anyone hearing Jeff Bezos answer like that would have to be confused, like, hey, are you someone with a sense of humor, or are you just crazy? Or maybe there's another option. You're just really confident. You know, I think if it were someone else, they would have lost their center when Amazon was being compared to Walmart, feeling like they weren't as good as them. But Jeff Bezos? Not at all. Even during the dot-com bubble, when Walmart made a profit of $5.38 billion from revenue of over $100 billion, he didn't lose his focus. $8 billion. During that same period, for the same year, Amazon lost $1.4 billion. So when you compare, mine is way less, right? This is what would make anyone else feel inferior, except Jeff. At that time, a reporter asked Jeff Bezos about the losses and how he felt about it. Do you know how Jeff Bezos answered? "Oh, you mean why our company isn't making a profit? That's because our company is clear about not seeking profit in the first place." That was Jeff joking, you know. Amazon does seek profit, But the real question is, what is it that makes him so funny? Because at a time when no one really understood, Jeff Bezos' energy could be described as indifferent. And within Amazon, were all those different departments and engineers really doing everything so well? They were actually doing terribly, to the point you could call it a total mess. And it was exactly that chaotic mess that became the origin of what would turn out to be Amazon's hero. Yes, AWS. But before we get to the point of just how chaotic things were, so much so that AWS was born out of it, I want to give you some background first so you can understand the context better. Back in 2000, during the dot-com bubble, everything was falling apart. Let's start from 1999. At that time, internet companies were booming. Any company that had .com at the end of its name was basic. The hottest thing at the time was these internet.com companies. They were the most popular products in the world at that moment. And because they were so insanely popular, it eventually turned into what we call a crazy bubble. Any company with .com at the end of its name could raise billions. For example, Pets.com was able to raise $300 million. It's a pet food company. Or Webvan.com, which raised $800 million. What kind of company was that? They were grocery delivery companies, right? And these companies didn't raise hundreds of millions or even billions because they were actually capable of generating revenue or profit. The reason these companies could raise that much money and attract so much investment was because investors, they weren't necessarily looking to buy good businesses. Investors put their money into these companies in what you might call, it was like buying a lottery ticket. And everything seemed to be going well until one day, out of the blue, a group of investors suddenly had a collective moment of clarity and realized, hey, these internet companies aren't actually worth that much. They're not generating revenue, and most importantly, they're not making any profit. They took our money and just burned through investors' cash like pros. When you hear about what happened back then, doesn't it start to sound familiar? Kind of like the current AI boom, right? Once the funding stopped flowing in, the market crashed immediately. It turned into one of the biggest financial crises in the world, the dot-com bubble in 2000. Back then, the NASDAQ index, which had reached its all-time high of 5,132 points on the 10th, in 2000, it crashed, dropping by 77%. And Amazon was one of the companies caught up in that cycle of destruction too. But the question is, did Amazon survive? It survived, obviously. I'm telling you about the year 2000, and if Amazon hadn't made it, it wouldn't exist today. Anyway, back to that crazy volatility I mentioned earlier. If I were the CEO of Amazon back then and had to deal with something like this, I would have totally freaked out. But after hearing this story, it really changed my mindset about managing an organization or even handling different situations in life. Because now I know that when problems come up, don't just assume it's all bad. Because when a problem happens, instead of just being like, ugh, this sucks, whatever, let it go. We should actually work on solving the problem and keep trying different solutions until we find the best answer. We might even end up with resources that become like a roof over our heads in life, you know? All right, let's get into the topic of Amazon. I'll give you a brief overview of Amazon's internal structure first. There are a lot of different teams at Amazon, like the storage team, the computing team, the inventory team, the marketing team, and the team at the center of all this chaos, the books team at Amazon. So what does the books team do? Their job isn't complicated at all. They just make spreadsheets. They record all sorts of data for Amazon, and basically there are 5 main columns. Column 1 is the book title. Amazon sells books, right? So the book title. For example, let's use the book Hook as our example. Column 2 is the price. Just write it down. The book Hook costs $10. Column 3 is tax, which is $2. Column 4 is the location. The inventory is stored in the San Francisco warehouse. Column 5 is the total monthly sales. If it sells $10,000 a month, that doesn't seem like there would be any problem. So once the book team's information is entered into the spec sheet, by the next morning, around 6 a.m., every Amazon team will come and read the information in the book spreadsheet so they can continue their work. For example, the checkout team will read the price in column 2 to charge the customer. The tax team will read column 3 to see how much tax there is so they can handle the quarterly taxes. Then the other 40 teams will run their operations for the day by reading each column of the books team spreadsheet. The problem is, the books team does not fully realize that the spreadsheet they're making is that critically important. They have absolutely no idea that other teams are going to rely on and read the books team spreadsheet to continue their own work to that extent. How could they not know? And when the books team doesn't realize that other teams are going to use their data to continue their work to that extent, it leads to problems like this. For example, when the books team records book prices, they do it according to their own standards, not according to the accounting team's standards. So the accounting team is always complaining that, how are we selling it? How are we recording the prices? Why do the items sold and the recorded prices never match up? The accounting department always gets hit with this kind of thing too. This is normal, but yeah, it's a problem. So that day, Amazon fixed it. The books engineering team, after talking with the accounting team, said, "Oh, you're here to check this out? Okay, how about we solve it like this?" Because when the books team records prices and there are decimals, like, for example, if a book actually costs $9.99, but when books records it, they round off the decimals, so it becomes a whole number. But the accounting team wants it to be $9.99, but the books team just can't do it. When they record it, the decimals get cut off. So the books team said, how about this for a solution? Instead of recording in dollars, why don't we record in 999 cents? That way, everything will be whole numbers and there won't be any decimals or rounding issues. The accounting team was like, yeah, that works. Let's do it that way. So after that, the books team didn't have any more problems with accounting anymore. You could say it was a genius solution, but as soon as the old problem disappeared, a new one was about to pop up. It's like the books team only talked to the accounting team and didn't check with anyone else, right? Because the marketing team came to read the column showing the book prices, and they saw the number 1,000. There was no currency labels, so the marketing team thought it was $1,000, when in reality, yes, they saw 1,000 and signed off on it. Then, at 9 a.m. the next day, there was an announcement from Amazon. The marketing team congratulated the book for being the #1 bestseller of the week, saying that Hook had sales of up to $1,000. Wrong again. After that, the payments team went ahead and charged the customer $1,000. This probably shouldn't have happened. There's no way this could have gone smoothly. The customers would definitely complain, and the CFO's dashboard even recorded that the Hook book could generate up to $10 million per month, but it should have been in baht, not dollars. And believe it or not, this kind of mistake, by the time we realized what had happened, the error had already been repeated over and over again. Hundreds of times. That's why I said, if I were Jeff that day, I would have screamed. But whether Jeff actually went off somewhere to scream that day, nobody knows. What we do know for sure is that Jeff solved the problem. This incident made Jeff Bezos send out an email that's now considered legendary in Silicon Valley. That email is called the Bezos API Mandate. So what was it about? In it, he wrote out 5 rules. No team is allowed to directly read another team's spreadsheet or database. What you specifically need to do is create a dedicated service window. So if any team wants to see Book's spreadsheet, they should send a formal request to Book, and Book will use the service window to answer the question. For example, if the marketing team wants to know the current price of a book, they shouldn't look at the spreadsheet directly. Instead, they should send a command to book service window, like get price book equals currency equals, or something similar, USD. Then the service window has to handle the request according to the command, meaning it checks the currency and everything and then responds with the answer. Any other team, like the checkout team or any other team, if they want to request information from Book Spreadsheet, they have to do it the same way. This is what we call an API. But Jeff didn't stop there. Jeff added one more line of instruction, and that one line is the crucial line that led to the creation of a $1 trillion business. The other line that Jeff added said that all service windows must be designed well enough so that one day someone from outside Amazon or from the public anywhere can come and use this service window with this command. From an employee's perspective, it might have seemed pointless. Like, who would ever want to use it? Amazon's infrastructure, who from the outside would ever want to use it? But from the perspective of a CEO like Jeff Bezos, he saw that in reality, this directive wasn't just for the books department. It was for every department. That means, as a matter of fact, this comprehensive directive could actually be shared widely for general public use, and it would be a versatile directive that could potentially benefit everyone. The idea was to allow external parties to rent out the robust existing infrastructure already built on Amazon. And that would create a significant new stream of revenue, right? Because once there are standardized APIs and Windows services in place, developers and businesses can easily send requests to use services in those specific departments of Amazon. Within the company, there are several main departments that can connect Amazon's foundational infrastructure to the general public for those who want it. For example, storage, meaning hundreds or even thousands of computer hard drives in Amazon that store Amazon's data. Normally, if you're a startup, a new company that wants to do something with the cloud or data, you'd have to invest in buying hundreds of computers. You'd also need a cold room and engineers to maintain that cold room. That would cost you millions. Instead of having to invest millions right from the start to do something like that with hard drives, you can just rent storage from Amazon. You don't have to pour a huge lump sum into an upfront investment. Instead, you pay AWS a monthly fee, which is much less. Or take Amazon's computing team, for example. The computing team is responsible for all the calculations on Amazon.com, whether it's search, displaying web pages, or recommending products, which computation is extremely important because, computing power, right? If your computing power isn't enough to meet demand, that's a big problem. For example, let's say you're a startup that creates an application. One day, you launch a campaign, and suddenly, boom, it gets overloaded. Normally, you might have 10,000 users a day, but on that day, thanks to the popularity you've generated, way more people want to access your application. Up to 1 million people. Normally, the computing power you've prepared for 10,000 users definitely won't be enough for 1 million. And every time, for every startup, I've covered stories about this, if you suddenly get a surge in customers, that's a disaster. But this won't happen if you rent computing power from AWS, because you can just click and tell AWS that you want to increase your computing power from 100 computers to 1,000 machines, and you're ready to welcome customers. 1 million, no problem. Then 2 days later, if your customer numbers drop, you just click and tell AWS to reduce it back to 100 machines like before. And the best part, do you know what it is? It's pay as you go. You only pay for what you use. Isn't that awesome? That's why you could say AWS is like a superpower for startups. And because it solves pain points and helps people who are building their businesses make a lot of money, AWS itself is able to generate a lot of revenue and profit. So who are AWS's customers? Well, they range from Airbnb, Dropbox, Slack, Spotify, Reddit, Pinterest, Shopify, Coinbase, and even Zoom and Big Cups. Even the CIA is an AWS customer. Ever since that incident when Amazon stock dropped by 93% and Jeff Bezos became the laughingstock of the whole country, he's always been patient. he never cared about anyone's laughter because he knew exactly what he was doing. He kept AWS a secret for 9 years. During that time, Wall Street asked him to reveal AWS's numbers, but Jeff Bezos never said a word. Until April 23, 2015, the day AWS became strong enough to show itself to the world, Jeff Bezos reported the quarterly earnings for everyone to see. That was $1,057 million in just one quarter. And in the past year, 2025, AWS was able to generate as much as $128.7 billion in revenue. And the operating profit was approximately $45.6 billion, which means AWS generated between 50 and 60% of Amazon's total operating profit. AWS is an innovation that was born out of what you could call chaos and disaster. It was created by people who didn't care if others laughed at them. It was built through trial and error until one day it finally reached its full potential. It turned out to be totally worth it. Jeff Bezos once said that you can't invent anything new without experimenting. And the important thing about experimenting is that it fails more often than it succeeds. Why? Because if you already know for sure that something will succeed in the end, that's not really an experiment. So whatever you're dreaming up, whatever you're thinking about, if you don't try, you'll never know whether it will succeed or not. So are you going to take action?